This video is about how I am using outcomes in my class to understand the overall mastery my students have of different skills and knowledge that are part of the course this term. So the nice thing about outcomes is that you can do this on the course level, or you could also do it on a program or certificate level, such that all instructors teaching within that program would pull from the same list of outcomes. And you can see how useful that would be for reporting. Anyway, setting it up isn't immediately obvious. Here's how I did it. So in my class, I began to build my course starting with outcomes. And so I went to outcomes, I created some categories, and in each category, I added different outcomes that we had decided that we wanted to see in students. I then associated outcomes with my quiz banks, my question banks. So when I had a reading and I was associating questions, I go into it, and after creating the questions, come over here to the right and align outcomes. You can see that for this question bank on Chapter 7, effective team behaviors, how to give and receive feedback, and how to manage one's emotions are important outcomes that students should gain competency in after this quiz. The next thing that I did was figure out how I could use outcomes to construct rubrics for other assessments. So in my assignments, each module has a final project that is documented in the process slide deck. And in this slide deck, students should be showing, it's almost like a module portfolio, all of these skills. So to associate the outcomes that I should see manifest in this slide deck, I go ahead as if I were going to add a rubric, but instead of adding criterion and trying to type in descriptions and all of those things, I simply go find the outcomes that are part of this. So in ID8, I expect to see examples of many divergent ideas, and thereby demonstrating competency in that area. So I import that outcome. And I can do this for as many of those outcomes as are relevant. And then you can see that I have, for my grading ease, I can either click exceeds expectations, meets, or does not meet expectations. And then I can create my rubric. And this is a very fast way to streamline your grading and ensure that all your assessments are aligned with your desired course outcomes. Now you might be questioning, well, how do my students know what's expected? Exceeds expectations or meets expectations is not very telling for students. Well, what I plan on doing is taking rubrics that I've used in the past that have all sorts of those details, and I'm going to remove the grading from those, but rather just use them as this is a high performing. If you have this sort of characteristic, this is what you're aiming for. But when I actually go in and grade, I am going to use the exceeds, meets, or does not meet expectations. And I think that'll make it fast, students are still informed, and I have a highly integrated course. And the coolest thing is that when I go to my gradebook, I can use it in learning mastery mode, which you can see here, and you can see all my outcomes across the top, and I've only recently got this set up. But in this column, effective team behaviors, you can see where all the students are. Pretty soon, I'm going to be able to see all of these and have a nice big panel and be able to have an overview of where most of my students are in terms of mastery of these course concepts.